Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Welcome to our second PU Computer Science online classes. So, we are in the concept of the pointers, that means the chapter name is the pointers, and we already completed some concept about the pointers, the meaning of pointers, declaration of pointers, defining pointers or pointer variable assignment, or also calling as the initialization of pointers, or we can say as the types of pointers. Some of the types of the pointers are, the first one is the address of operator. For that we are using ampersand symbol, and the indirection operator, and also calling as the pointer operator, and here we are using the symbol as the asterisk, like look like star symbol. And we already completed one simple example or program to perform about our two operations here, and later next one pointer arithmetic, and the last concept about our pointer and arrays here. Now later words, let's see the next concept about this chapter, that is the array of pointers. Why? Because we know that, as we know that a pointer, now before going to tell the array of pointer meaning, let's see some example. So we know that maybe here an array of integers, so this is the example of the array of integers, or maybe the array of float here, and similarly there is an array of pointers. Clear this point? What's the difference to our array of integers or the array of float here, or what's the difference and how we are going to complete the array of pointer example or the declaration. So here I already written, the first one is the array of integers, the array of float here, and last example that is look like, or that is equal to our array of pointers here. So since we know that, why? Because the pointer is a variable which stores the memory address or the address of another variable. Why? Because till just only I am not going to tell the meaning of the array of pointers. Whatever I completed, just only very simple, that is the meaning of, about our pointers. So pointer is a variable which stores the address of another variable, and we know that, or we can say that, or it means that here the array of pointer means it is a collection of the addresses. Clear this point here? Why? Because we know the meaning of the array. The meaning of the array is the collection here, and the pointer means it stores the address here. So finally we can say that the meaning of the array of pointers, or the meaning an array of pointers, that it is a collection of the addresses. Now let's see, by using one example we are going to complete the meaning of the array of pointers. And here in this example, before going to take here, or before going to access all these address here, I am going to declare the array of pointers, and such array of pointers going to declare by using the data type int here and the pointer. Why? Because it is not the variable, it is a pointer variable, so star going to use and 5 here. Clear this point? And later some other variable also I am going to declare. So some of the variables are I is equal to 10, j value is equal to 20, k is equal to 30, l value is equal to 40, and m value is equal to 50, and everything going to declare by using the data type int. And later words, after completing each variable declaration, I used the comma, and finally I terminated all those declaration by using the semicolon. That means first of all I declare the pointer of arrays here. How many? That means the collection of the addresses. So I want here 5 collection of addresses, and later words by using some of the variable I used some initialization value to each variable. And later next one, after that we can say that why, because the ampersand I is equal to IPTR of 0. Clear this point here? Why? Because the ampersand I, that is called as the address of the I, that is equal to IPTR of 0, and ampersand J, that is equal to the IPTR of 1. Why? Because the address of the J, that is held by our pointer IPTR. Clear? IPTR position value 1 here, and the ampersand K, the address of the K, that is held by our IPTR of 2, and ampersand L, that is held by our IPTR of 3 here, and the ampersand M, that is held by our IPTR of 4 here. And later after that, why? Because here I used what's the difference if you are using just IPTR of 0 and if you are using pointer IPTR of 0, what's the difference here? So clear this point here. So the pointer IPTR of 0, that is equal to the 10. Why? Because I already said if you are using the symbol ampersand, that is called as the address of the variable. It holds the address of the variable here. So such variable address, that is holded by the pointer variable or just only the variable IPTR of 0, and the pointer IPTR of 0, that is hold the value of the variable. So I already declared some of the value. Why? Because the ampersand I, it is the address, but I value is the 10 here. So pointer IPTR is equal to 10, pointer IPTR of 1 is equal to 20, and pointer IPTR of is equal to 2 is equal to 30, and pointer IPTR of 3 is equal to 40, and pointer IPTR of 4 is equal to 50. So clear this point here? Why? Because in this example I already said the here we can say that the array of integer, array of float, and this is the example of the array of pointers here, and we already know the meaning of the pointer. Now just only the meaning of or the complete meaning of an array of pointer means that it is a collection of the addresses, and should remember it, if you are using the pointer, that means it holds the value of the variable here, and if you are using ampersand, that means it holds the address of the variable, such a variable address that is holded by the IPTR of 0. So this is the meaning of the array of pointers here. And after completing the array of pointers, let's see the next concept, that is called as the pointers and strings here. Why? Because we already know the relationship between, or we already discussed some of the relationship that is between the arrays and pointers in our C++, correct? No? Why? Because you already know about this concept, how the array and pointer going to access the value one after the another. So we can say that we have already discussed the one concept. The name of the concept is the arrays and pointers here in our C++, but also we can say that there is also a close relationship between the pointer and the strings. Clear this point? Whatever I said, the first of all I said the close relationship between the array and pointer, we already know, we already completed one program whether there is a relationship here in between, because we know about this one and we already completed one program also. Now in this concept I want to tell not just only the relationship going to occur between array and pointers, such relationship is also established by using the pointer and the strings in this case. Now what's the meaning of the strings? Why? Because we know that a string is a sequence of characters. So what do you mean by a sequence of character? The meaning of sequence is called as the group of characters, correct? No, a string is a group of characters here, and maybe if you are going to declare any string, and in this example I declared this string, the group of character as hello here, and always should remember it, the group of characters always terminates or ends with null character. clear this point here. Maybe if you are using good morning, also the end line going to close by using our null character here. So this is the meaning of the string, and we already know the meaning of the pointers. Why? Because it is a variable that holds the memory address of the another variable. Now the meaning of the string, it is a group of character, and whatever the character are there in group, such group of character always ends with null character. Now in this concept, I want to declare some of the character pointer here and also some group of characters. So suppose we have declared an array of 5 elements. Clear this point here. I want to declare an array of 5 elements of the data type character. That means here you know that string means group of character. That means we are not going to use the data type int. Correct? No? Why? Because the int data type is using just for the numbers, but in case you are going to collect any letters, the group of characters here, the group of letters, then sure you are going to declare such all those an array of characters by using the data type character only. So in this example, first of all I want to declare the char data type by using the char data type, the s of 5. Clear this point here. The s of 5 I already completed. The s of 5 is the s of 0 h here and HELLO, and always going to terminate by using our null character. Why? Because the null character is the null string. The length of character is 0. Clear this point here. So first of all here the first thing, the char s of 5, and the second, that is going to declare the pointer variable. So the name of the pointer variable is the pointer cptr, and such one going to declare by using the data type char here. And one more thing you should remember. Why? Because now whatever is there in s, now what's the value it's there in s? Why? Because the what's the answer or what's the information is there in s? The information is the hello. Clear this point here. Now such hello, whatever the information is there is in s here, such one going to assign to the pointer variable cptr. That means our cptr also hold the same answer. The answer is the hello. But you should remember in our string, why? Because still here whatever is there I am using ampersand s. Is it? Why? Because see in this example ampersand I and later next one is the iptr of 0. That means here I used the ampersand, but you should remember when you are going to use the pointer and the strings, but no any ampersand going to use. Clear this point. So directly going to assign the address. That means whatever is there in s, such one going to assign to the variable or the pointer variable cptr. Clear this point here. So about all those explanation we can say as the s of 5 is an array of characters. Correct? No? The s of 5 is an array of characters here that we already added, and the group of character is the hello here. And now what about the pointer cptr? The pointer cptr is a character pointer. It is a character pointer to string. Clear this point here. So s is also represent as the character pointer to string. So meaning is very simple. Why? Because the first line just only an array of character, a group of character going to declare here. So how many character I want to use in program means first of all we need to declare all those character. So first thing is called as the, we can say as the group of string here, or we can say finally an array of character, that is called as the strings in this case, and later this second declaration that is called about our the character pointer to string. So s is also represent as the character pointer to string. Now let's see how we are going to access the element of the array here. Why? Because maybe h is there, e is there, l, o. So what's the concept, what's the rules we are going to follow in our pointer and string while going to access the element of the array here? So here we can say that the element of the array can be referred to in the program as, that means can be accessed in our program as the s of 0 to s of 5. Clear this point? Why? Because we know that, we already know we are in the concept of the string, and string group of characters. So group of character and always terminates with the null character. So the null character, that is equal to null string. The length of the string is 0, but also we can say that the element of the array can be referred to in the program as the s of 0 to the s of 5 here. Clear this point here, s of 0 to the s of 5 in this case here. And maybe when program is compiled, that means maybe in program you want to access any letter, any variable here. So how we are going to access all those letters? So that is called as, when program is compiled, the compiler does not save the addresses of all the element of the array. Why? Because see here the address, H address is the s of 0, E address is the s of 1, L address is the s of 2, one more L, s of 3, O address is the s of 4. Is it possible to access, is it possible to save all these addresses? No, we are not going to save all those addresses here. So we can say that just only when program is compiled, that means the compiler does not save the addresses of all the element of the array, but only going to save the name of the array here. So why I used the name of the array? The meaning is very simple. The name of the array means the s of 0 give the base addresses of the array here. Just by using the starting address, it possible to access whatever the character of elements are there, all those elements it possible to access one after the another. That is called as the group of string. But also why? Because I already said the s of 0 give the base addresses of the array. The meaning is just only that means the address of the first character in the string variable. Clear this point here, the address of the first character in the string variable. By using all those address, we can access the all those element of the array one after the another. Clear this point here, the one after the another, or hence can be regarded as the pointer to character. Correct? No, why? Because this one is the pointer to the character, the s of 0 base address, or it gives the base address of the array, or simply the address of the first character in the string variable, hence regarded as the pointer to the character to access all those elements here. And we already know one more note. Why? Because we know that the group of character always terminates with null character. Correct? No, always terminates with the null character. And also it is enough for us to know that the starting address of a string is able to access the entire string just by using the starting address, that is the s of 0. By using the s of 0, we can access the entire string of a character, the entire character of the string in this case here. And finally, how we are going to assign the number of bytes in this case here, or how we are going to calculate how many byte we need in the program here. Why? Because here I already calculate the byte 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 in this case. Correct? Now in this case here, why? Because the position value going to start from 0, so we need the s of 5 in this case here. So the number of bytes in our string program or in this program is going to calculate by the number of characters within this string. Clear this point here, how many character you are going to declare, it depend on the number of the character. We are going to determine calculating how many bytes we need in the program here. And later finally we can say that here some of the note are there here. So the s of 0 gives the address of the h. Clear this point here. Why? Because all those are the addresses of each character. So the s of 0 gives the address of the h here, but pointer s of 0, that means the pointer s of 0 gives the character, that is the h in this case. Clear this point here. So what's the difference to our just only the s of 0 and pointer s of 0? Why? Because I said the s of 0 gives the address of the h here, and the pointer s of 0 just give our h in this case. And maybe you want to access the next element. So how we are going to access all those elements? That means the s plus plus gives address of E. Clear? The address of E is the S of 1. Clear this point here? So the S plus plus gives the address of E here, and the pointer S plus plus gives just only the E here. So after reaching to the E here, after that later next one, if you are using X plus plus again, S plus plus again here, on that time gives the address of the L. In this case, the address of the L is the S of 2. Clear this point? And the pointer S plus, why? Because we already reached to the E here. So that means the pointer S plus plus gives just only the character L in this case here. So clear this point? What about the pointer and the strings here? Why? Because we know that now just only the final touch to the concept pointer and the strings. We know the meaning of the pointer. Now just only the meaning of the string is a group of character, and such character terminate or always ends with null character here. And later in this case I just declare some of the an array of a character that is called as the string variable, and also I declare the pointer variable also. Now whatever the answer is there in S, why? Because in S the answer is the hello, such one going to assign to the pointer variable CPTR, but should remember it, if maybe you are in the concept of the pointer and string, don't going to use the ampersand while going to assign any address from one to another here. Clear this point here? And later next one here just only how we are going to access and how we are going to determining or calculating the number of byte we need in the program here, and by using which we are going to access all those or each element of the array. So each and everything we completed in this concept. So this is the concept about our pointer and the strings here. Now let's see the next concept. The next concept is the pointers and structures. Clear this point here? So the pointer and the structures. So we can say that there is not just only relationship between pointers and arrays or the pointer and strings here. There is also a relationship between our pointer and the structures, or simply we can say that pointer to the structure variables. Why? Because we know that whatever, if you are going to struct any structure here, so such we using one keyword. The keyword is the struct here. So the struct student. Clear this point here? The struct is the keyword and student is the structure name. That means the user name here. Clear this point here? The structure name, structure underscore name. Otherwise we can say opening of the floor bracket, and in structure I am using some of the variable declaration. So some of the variable declarations are, one is the roll number and second one is the fees here. So the roll number going to declare by using data type in, and fees maybe we are going to collect 5000.25. So like that. So anything if you want you can use the int also, no any problem. But in this example I am using the fees declaration as the float here. So in structure we using two variables. One is the roll number, second one is the fees, and later closing of floor bracket semicolon. That means this one is called as the end of structure. Correct? Now here the end of structure, and after the void main. Why? Because it's very simple program. So just only in this program how we are going to use the pointer to structure, just only they explained here. But you should remember we are not going to write directly. Before that only we are writing some of the void main. Otherwise just only if it is a structure means directly we are going to use the structure name. Correct? No? And whatever the variables are there going to declare. So this structure name we already used. The name of the structure is the student. So by using the student I am going to declare some other variables. So the first variable name is the S here, and second, why? Because it is the concept of pointers, then sure we are going to use the ampersand. Correct? No? Whether we are using the ampersand, no, we are using the asterisk. Clear this point here? So maybe the SP, that means the pointer variable going to declare. Clear this point? It is a keyword, structure name. In structure two variables are declared, roll number and fees here by using their data type. And later next one, here I want to declare some other variable. The variables are S and pointer SP. So such one going to declare by using the structure name. The name of this structure is the student. Clear this point? The name of the structure is the student. Now in our S, or we can say that the S containing some of the information. The informations are roll number and fees here. So such one going to assign to the pointer SP. Clear this point here? So now let's see. I used the ampersand. Why? Because maybe if it is a string means I am not going to use the ampersand, but it is a pointer and structure explanation or the program, one simple program. Now whatever is there in S, why? Because we know that student S containing some information, that is the roll number and fees here. So such information going to assign to the SP. Correct? No? That means the SP also containing the information is the roll number and fees. Now I want to declare all those. That means I am going to use the pointer SP dot roll number is equal to 104. So any number we are going to use in our roll number, or anything we are going to assign to the variable roll number. So we can say that not just only we are going to use the pointer, otherwise the operator dot to just to assign the value to the roll number. The above statement, that means whatever I used the dot, the above statement can also be written by using the arrow operator. So this is called as the arrow operator. Clear this point here? So this one is the arrow operator. That means if you want, you can use the dot operator to access the roll number information or roll number value here. So such a dot it also going to write by using another operator. The name of the operator is called as the arrow operator. So such one just only SP, and I am going to use the arrow operator. Roll number is equal to 104. It is just only one simple example for our pointer and the structures. So clear this point here about the pointer and the structures here. And now let's see the very important concept. The very important concept is the memory allocation of the pointers. Clear this point here? The memory allocation of the pointers. Why? Because in memory allocation of the pointers, the two important allocation of memory are that one is the static and dynamic. So before going to tell the allocation of memory of pointer, that is static and dynamic, let's see some explanation about the memory allocation. So our compiler, why? Because it is a software, and such a software is using to convert from one form to the another form, maybe English form to the computer form, each and everything. Correct? So the compiler allocates the amount of memory space for the declared variables. Why? Because maybe your declaration, the declared variable is the integer, then it going to reserve 2 bytes. Correct? Why? Because it depend on the declaration of the data type. The compiler reserving some amount of memory space and depend on the declaration of the variables. So some of the example I want to tell about, maybe the integer variable you want to declare, then sure the compiler reserving 2 byte of memory space here, or maybe the declaration of variable is float, that means it going to reserve 4 bytes here, or maybe the declaration of the variable is a character, then it going to reserve 1 byte. Clear this point? That means it depend on the declaration, what's the variable you are going to declare, based on the data type, the compiler reserving the amount of memory space for the declaration of the variables. So therefore the every data or instructions whatever you declare or that is being executed, that means allocate some amount of memory space, maybe in the main function, or the internal memory. Clear this point here? Why? Because when you are going to declare maybe any kind of data, or maybe when you are going to declare any kind of the instructions, on that time only the compiler reserving some amount of memory space, maybe in the main function, that is called as the internal memory of the computer here. So the allocation of the memory can be done in two ways. What do you mean by a allocation? That means providing some memory space depend on the variable. So such allocation of the memory, I want some memory. Why? Because when you are going to declare some variable, before going to declare, first of all we should know whether the memory is there to store such variable or not. So this is the most important thing. Why? Because if no space is there, is it possible to store or is it possible to use such a variable? No, we can't use such a variable here. So we can say that the memory allocation can be done in two ways. The methods are static allocation of memory and dynamic allocation of memory. We know that the meaning of static allocation of memory. Why? Because in static memory allocation, the amount of memory to be allocated for each variable is predicted and pre-known. That means in static, this memory is allocated during declaration time itself. Clear this point? When you are going to declare the variables, on that time only it allocating some amount of memory space for the variables here. Maybe the data type int 2 bytes, float 4 bytes, character 1 byte here. So we can say this memory is allocated during declaration time itself, and all the variable declared, all those are going to declare statistically. That means normally, or simply we can say that are allocated the memory statistically. So whatever the variable, there is no any other rules. So what's the declaration of the variable is that the same rule we are going to apply in our static allocation of memory. So all the variable declared are going to declare normally like other variables, that is called as are allocated the memory statistically. So in this example, I used one declaration. The declaration is the int a. That means we know that it allocating 2 byte of memory space for the declared variables here, that is called as the during declaration time itself. Or maybe if you are changing data type float, it going to declare, that means reserving how many bytes? The 4 byte of memory space for the declared variables during declaration time itself here. So this is about our static allocation of memory. Now let's see the dynamic allocation of memory. Why? Because the static we already said. Why? Because whatever the variable we are going to declare, it going to declare during declaration time itself only, and not possible to increase, not possible to decrease their size here. That means it's a fixed, that is called as the static allocation of memory. But what about in case of our dynamic allocation of memory? Why? Because in dynamic allocation of memory, the two operators are going to use, operators are new and delete. Clear this point here? Now let's see the meaning of the dynamic allocation of memory. So in dynamic allocation of memory or memory allocation, we can say that the amount of memory to be allocated for the variable is not known. Clear this point here? We don't know. Why? Because I already said, maybe if you want to increase the memory by using operator new, and if you don't want to, you want to decrease the memory, or if you don't want such a memory, means here by using the operator delete here. So we can say that here the amount of memory to be allocated for the variable is not known. That means in our dynamic memory allocation, whatever the amount of memory that is allocated for the variable, such one going to allocate it during runtime. Clear this point here? That means during running of the program only here. So during runtime as and when required. Clear this point? When you want to increase the size, on that time only by using the allocation, we are going to use the operator new here. If you don't want, then by using the operator delete. So we can say that in our dynamic memory allocation, the amount of memory to be allocated for the variable is not known. Why? Because in this memory or this amount of memory is available during runtime as and when required. Clear? So C++ support may be the dynamic allocation and deallocation of the memory by using operator new and delete. Clear this point? When you want the allocation of memory, new. When you want to deallocation of memory, by using the delete. So C++ supporting some of the allocation and deallocation of the object by using the operator new and delete in this case here. Or simply we can say that here the new operator call the special function operator, that is called as the new here, and the delete operator call the special function operator, that is called as the delete in this case here. So clear this point? What about new and delete in this case here? Or simply we can say that about our free store here. So what about the free store? That means when you are, if you don't want the memory space, it's going to add into one place here. So such one is called as the free store. Clear this point here? That means here we can say that this is about our free store, and later next one simply for the last concept or the last touch to our new operator. So we can allocate the storage space for the variables while program is running here. When you want any memory space, that means sure we are going to use operator. Which operator? The operator is the new operator. So just only we can say that here we can allocate some amount of storage space for the variable when you want in our program here or while the program is running by using the operator new operator. Now let's see some of the example for our to allocate the memory of type integer. I want some memory for the type integer, then I am using int pointer IPTR is equal to new int. Clear this point here? Maybe why? Because here two example I completed. In first example in one line only I completed everything, but in second example line by line I completed the same information here. So in first line, otherwise you can write as the int pointer IPTR semicolon, and later next one is the IPTR is equal to new int. Otherwise in one line only we are going to write. That means why we using such a line here? The meaning of the line is the to allocate memory of type integer. Clear this point here? To allocate the memory of type integer. So int pointer IPTR is equal to new int. And the second example, why? Because I already said whatever I completed by using one line, such one going to used by using two lines here. So the first one int pointer p number, just only in first line and declare the pointer variable p number, and second line p number is equal to new int. So what's the meaning of the first and the second line here? So we can say that the first line declares the pointer p number. Clear this point here? That means in first line we declare the pointer p number, and the second line then allocates some memory for an integer. Correct no kiya? Some memory for an integer and then makes the p number. Why? Because to point to this new memory. Clear this point here? So this is about why? Because the first line we are going to declare some pointer variable. So the name of the pointer variable is the p number, and the second line allocating some memory space for an integer. Okay, the memory space I want the allocation of memory, extra memory I want in the program here. So how I am going to get allocate such memory? So the second line then allocate some memory for an integer here, and then makes the p number to point to this new memory here. So this is about our some example for the new operator here. Thank you.